The restaurant was alive with the chaos of the lunch rush. Waiters weaved between tables, hurried orders filled the air, and the rhythmic clatter of dishes and kitchen chatter created a constant hum. Yet amidst the noise, one particular exchange at the counter caught Donald Trump's attention. A young black waitress stood with a tense expression, facing a frustrated customer who was growing increasingly irate. "Listen here, missy. You've messed up my order twice. How hard can it be? They gave you the simplest job, and you still can't get it right." The man rolled up his sleeves and slammed his hand on the table. A few diners turned their heads, sensing the growing tension. The waitress's hands trembled. She was new at this job, trying her best, but this man wouldn't give her a chance. "I'm sorry, sir. I'll fix it right away," she said, her voice shaking. But the man's eyes darkened with frustration. "Fix it? No, I want your manager. I need to hear that you've been fired." The color drained from the young woman's face. Even the kitchen staff fell silent at his words. But the most unexpected silence came from Donald Trump's table. He set down his coffee cup, his sharp gaze locking onto the girl before shifting to the man berating her. The customer leaned back, smirking as he raised his voice for the entire restaurant to hear. Some people just aren't cut out for even the simplest tasks. And this girl, she's one of them. Trump pushed his chair back slightly and stood up. A few customers took notice, sensing that something was about to happen. The man was mid-sentence when Trump, with slow, deliberate steps, approached the counter. The restaurant fell silent, every eye now locked on him. "Sometimes," Trump said, his voice steady and unwavering, "people have no idea who they're talking to." At first, the man looked startled. Then, recognizing Trump, his expression shifted to indifference. "Well, look at that. A celebrity eating here. Why are you getting involved?" Trump slid his hands into his pockets, tilting his head slightly as he studied the man. "I'm getting involved because I don't like watching injustice." A murmur rippled through the restaurant. People leaned in, eager to see how Trump would handle the situation. The man scoffed, shaking his head. "This is between me and her. Mind your own business." Trump shook his head slowly. "Number. This isn't just between you and her. This is happening in front of everyone. And what you're doing is disgraceful." The customer shifted uncomfortably, but Trump's voice grew firmer. "People like you take the little power you have and use it to tear others down instead of lifting them up." The man shot up from his chair, his face flushed with anger. "What do you care? Do you know her or something? Or are you just trying to score points by standing up for her?" The room fell into an eerie stillness. The waitress's eyes widened. Diners exchanged glances, uncertain of what would happen next. But Trump's expression remained unchanged. "I don't know this girl," he said plainly. The man smirked. "Then why are you sticking your nose in this?" Trump took a step closer. "Because a long time ago, I knew someone just like her." The restaurant was completely silent now. Trump's gaze drifted slightly, as if recalling a distant memory. "When I was a kid, my father ran a small hotel. There was a young boy who worked there as a waiter. He was dedicated, respectful, and hardworking. But people never truly saw him for who he was." Trump's voice softened as he continued. "People like you laughed at him because he was young, because he was inexperienced, because he was black." His words echoed through the restaurant. What had started as a minor argument had transformed into something much bigger. The young waitress couldn't hold back her tears. She saw herself in his words. Trump looked at her and offered a faint but knowing smile. "Do you know what happened to that boy?" Silence. No one dared to speak. "He worked hard for years. He never gave up. And one day he became the owner of that very hotel." Shocked expressions turned toward Trump. No one had expected that. The customer scoffed, shaking his head. "That's just a made-up story." But Trump's gaze didn't waver. "Remember, that boy was my closest friend. And people like you made him believe he'd never make it." The man's smug expression faltered. He was told over and over again that he wasn't good enough, that he'd never succeed. Trump took a deep breath, his voice steady. "One day, I found him sitting on the kitchen floor of that hotel, eyes filled with tears. He looked up at me and said, 'No matter what I do, I'll never be enough.'" Trump turned to the waitress, locking eyes with her. "And today that's exactly how you feel, isn't it?" Her lips quivered. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Trump had voiced a fear she had never been able to put into words. The customer leaned back, uncomfortable, unable to dismiss the weight of the moment. "So what's your point? Are we supposed to praise her for messing up? This isn't about race. Trump's expression grew even more serious. People like you never give second chances to those you see as beneath you, because deep down, you don't believe they're worth it. The man rolled his eyes. This is just about a botched order. You're making it into something bigger than it is. Trump exhaled slowly, then turned back to the waitress. How old are you? 20, she whispered. And what do you want to be? She hesitated, then took a deep breath. I want to own my own restaurant. Trump smiled. Then remember this. What happened today isn't the end of your journey. It's just the beginning. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a business card, and placed it in her hand. Call me. The waitress stared at the card in disbelief. Meanwhile, the frustrated customer grabbed his bag and stormed out of the restaurant, his face red with anger. And then, something unexpected happened. The entire restaurant erupted into applause. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. 1 week later, as she stepped into the restaurant, the young waitress's eyes shone with excitement. This was no longer just a job. It was a new beginning. Trump stood beside her, offering a knowing smile. Success isn't luck. It's about working hard and never giving up. She nodded, emotion filling her eyes. For the first time, she felt like she belonged. As the days passed, she gained confidence and purpose. When she received her first paycheck, she held it in disbelief. It was hers, earned through her own effort. One day, Trump returned, watching as she managed the restaurant with ease. A proud smile crossed his face. Remember what I told you? Never give up, she nodded. And one day, I'll give someone else the same chance. In that moment, she knew. Her journey wasn't just about herself anymore. And once again, Trump had proven that one person could change the world.